Excuse me. I try to feed these guys in the sunlight. I don't know if folks consider stuff like that. Sometimes I'll be throwing feed down in the snow, and where it's like, yeah, this is fine here, but you know what? I want them in the sunlight. I want them to get as much sunlight as possible. So when I feed them on the yard, I go under these outbuildings because it's protection from aerial assault, you know, all kinds of hawks, particularly accipiters, whether it's a northern goshawk or a Cooper's hawk. They're pretty much like a forest and farm chicken specialist, depending on what part of the country. And if you hear someone say a chicken hawk, they're talking about usually a Cooper's hawk. Though somebody might think that that's what they would call a red tail, but in my opinion, no. Cooper's hawk, chicken hawk, hand in hand. Anyway, so I feed them underneath, you know, outbuildings and stuff and cover, or some hemlocks. I've been planting specific hemlocks to try to get a grove going. A red cedar would be nice, like what I grew up with. But anyway, I wanted to just clarify. And then the other thing is it's a balmy 40 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever it is. It's like 40. Really nice today, sunny. Is that when it gets like this, that is when you would have to be mindful of rotating stags. Like I said the other day about, you know, like these guys right here, he runs away from him, right? That's it. Then you get this little tiny, there's that little ginger stag running around, but other than that, you know, they won't really go to the barn until everything thaws. But when it's a nice warm day like this, yeah, you wouldn't necessarily want to just leave a stag from a different location in your yard that you think like, they're two separate places. An individual like this brown and red right here could easily just take a walk and check it out, but it was in the context of like, yeah, if you know your place. For me, for example, they kind of break off. That's what I meant there. You can rotate a stag and not have to worry about an individual like this coming over and just like, well, you know, eliminating him immediately because he's immature. The whatever stag that you wanted to let run, let's say, if it's coming from a pen and it's immature, you know, a bull stag or even a good hen, really. If you put one of these ACL stags in a pen of, let's say, like 2 mature ACL hens, for example, and they don't like them, stuff like that, you know what I mean? You'd make that mistake maybe once if it was a nice stag, and you'd be like, all right, I won't do that again. So it's in the context of like, yeah, if you're paying attention, you can rotate stags, but you don't want to just leave him out and a definitive like, all right, he's not going to cross this boundary. But I just happen to know that this guy roosts where he roosts, and he doesn't really go to the barn. I don't know why. Neither does that little ACL, but he could. And I just wanted to clarify that. Like this little stag will be tolerated. There's a couple brown, red looking stags running around, but a nice warm day today. Well, I feed them in the sun. I feed them whole corn a lot in the winter. The yard fowl get a lot of whole corn. It's convenient, economical, it's whole, so you're not wasting anything. Like, think about all the degradation that occurs from exposure to moisture and who knows what. Sunlight, you know what I mean, and different forms of warehouses and packaging and moving. So when you get a whole grain, it's superior in my opinion. And they have to work harder, the body has to work harder. When you butcher your fowl, look at the organs, look at the gizzard, and then compare some that have been on the yard, grinding up with stones and whole grains and seed, to some fowl that might be fed on like pellets or something, for example. You'll notice the difference. So in case anybody was wondering what I meant about rotating stags, you have to kind of chaperone. And so what I'll do, watch this. I'll let the ACL stags kind of rotate on the barn, you know. And these American straight comb, single comb game hens here will school them up pretty quick on how they gotta act. And sometimes I'll walk away for an afternoon and I can observe them and I'm like, yeah, it's all good, it's cool. And sometimes you're just an afternoon too late because, you know, you got a flat tire or who knows what. One of your children got sick at daycare and you had to go deal with that, or something will occur and you forget. Doctor's appointment or any little thing. You stay at work late and before you know it, it's like, you know what? You'll be up in the middle, in the middle of the night. It's like, I left such and such out, and then they're dead as disco. So, yes, it's a fine line of risk, but if you have a situation where you notice that like fowl will kind of break up, that's all that I meant by you can separate them a little bit. That's not to say, obviously, a free will, right? An individual could come over here and make a problem, but I've noticed that my fowl kind of break up into camps, and if I'm around, it works out. I can rotate these ACL stags, pen them up at night. If I left them out like the whole time, it'd be a problem really quickly. But I just wanted to clarify. I meant that, like, obviously I rotate them and I pen them up, put them on the yard, pen them up, put them on the yard, and sometimes the other half just like stays away and it's all good. Anyway, that's all that I meant. But I like doing this to see kind of, is this the year that I'm going to let one of these ACL stags mature on the yard in this particular camp, or I want one of these ACLs to mature on the yard, and they're well bred, so I want to see finally, like, each year, each generation, the fowl get better and better. I see progression, in my opinion, for my eye, what I'm looking at. So it would also be nice to see some yard-bred roundheads from the ACLs I'm messing with, and these American straight comb, mostly American game hens, and see what I think of all that. But I'm almost nervous to pen them up because I'll tell you, this is a stag, but the ACL cocks, man, they'll kill a hen if they don't like them. They'll kill them easy. So you gotta be real careful. You can't just like throw a hen in with a cock you don't know, or rather a pullet with an old cock, or a stag with a couple hens. I mean, those hens might kill that stag. It's possible. So you gotta be very mindful. I just wanted to clarify on some of that when it comes to free range stuff. And he's not acting quite right because he's so young. That's the other thing. A stag is going to act like selfish, greedy, and certain cocks will continue to do that. And then it'd be really nice if I can find one that was a gentleman, and really enjoyed his hens. And I think I found that this year, but man, it took a while. I don't necessarily trust my precious brown red hens to some brutish ACL cock that's probably not even going to be. You know what I mean? They already have like a reputation where it's like you gotta be really picky with ACLs. There is a reason it's hard to find good ones. Let me just say that. So I'm not just gonna have some ACL cock in there beating the hell out of my precious straight comb hens. It's not really what I'm trying to do, so I haven't really messed with this cross too much, but I'm going to work on it.